than planned, we are definitely getting off the ground tonight, and we are going to hear an awesome story from an awesome person. I met this person when we had our launch in Jamaica, guys, in February of this year. And immediately I knew something was special about this person. She was friends with our leaders, the people at the top. I'm talking about those who are making 6 and 7 figures monthly easy. Guys, I'm talking about our leaders that the world has recognized as great leaders, and they are in every category of the news. If you look on the internet, they're there. If you look in the hard copy, they're there, guys. And they said, show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. So tonight, this awesome and wonderful friend of mine is about to share with you guys things that I promise you did not know. You may have seen her, you may have heard of her, you may have even booked her up or sat beside her at a TLC event, but no one knows. So tonight, guys, let it be said, this is where you heard her story for the first time, guys. And I promise you, let me just be clear, I have no idea what my awesome friend is going to say tonight, but I do know that it's going to be awesome because it is coming from an awesome person. So tonight, guys, I just want to take the time out to welcome no other than, with all my trials and my troubles, she's now about to make it worth the effort for me pushing through this failure of my equipment, guys, tonight. No other than Joy Magnus herself. Joy, are you there? Joy?
Are you hearing me now? Hello? Emil? Are you hearing me? Is anyone hearing? Because I'm not hearing Emil now.
Yeah, yeah, I'm hearing you. Are you using a computer?
Yeah, I'm using a computer.
Could you spotlight yourself because I can't from my phone? So it
Okay.
says on you.
Spotlight, I like it where it is now. Okay, no. Hold on.
I know you're trying to hide from the spotlight, but not tonight.
Not tonight. Okay, can you see me now?
Not tonight. Yeah, I'm
Yes?
seeing you.
Okay. Okay, everybody seen and hearing?
Have you seen her? Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
If you've never seen me before, here I am. Thank you for the invitation, Emil. Thank you for the invitation and
You're welcome.
this opportunity to share my story. I'm excited because I'm sharing it in front of my own people. And so since it's Jamaicans and mostly Jamaicans on here, if I say a little patois here and there, remember it's Jamaica I come from. Like Emil said, my name is Joy Magnus, and I'm going to tell you some things that I probably don't tell a lot of people. I was born in the U.S. Don't tell nobody, because I let everybody know that I'm a Jamaican, but I really was born here in the Emil's mouth. I was born here in the U.S., and I'll tell you why in a minute. But I grew up in the Bahamas and Jamaica, and I claim Jamaica because most of my brought up was on the island of Jamaica. My father was a Methodist minister in the Caribbean, and he was appointed to the Bahamas when he got out of seminary. And while he was in the Bahamas, he became a part of they say some study that was being done in Nassau with young people and drugs. And so he was appointed to a church in Harlem to work for a year with the youth ministry there. And that was the year they were pregnant with me. So on a snowy day in Harlem, here comes baby Joy. First child, breech 9 pounds, 12 ounces. Shortly after that, my mother and I were back in Jamaica living with my grandparents till Daddy's term in New York was over. And then at the end of that, we went back to Nassau where Daddy was really appointed. And so we were living in Nassau, Bahamas. So my kindergarten and formative years were in Nassau. And when I was about 6, my dad requested a transfer back to his home district, which was Jamaica. And so from then, we lived in Jamaica. Daddy was appointed in Beechamville, St. Anne. So I went to Claremont All Age for a few years. And the life of a PK, you go where your father is appointed and is in ministry. And just before high school, we moved to Kingston. I did my common entrance at St. Andrew Prep, got into St. Andrew High School, and did my 7 years yeah. And so while I was in my first year of sixth form, right after graduation, I started applying to colleges, and I really wanted to stay in Jamaica because I had the childhood, I had the loving home, the nurturing family, was quite happy in Jamaica, didn't want to go nowhere. And everybody said, you know, you have US citizenship, take advantage of that privilege and do your tertiary education in the US. And I went through the process, but I really wasn't feeling it. And so I tell everybody that I left Jamaica kicking and screaming because I would rather stay there. So part of my decision of where to go in the US, New York was too cold. I've lived in this country for years and I still don't like cold weather. So New York I knew was out because it was too cold, and Miami was too much like Jamaica. So I said, okay, I'll come to Atlanta. A school in Atlanta accepted me. So I came to Atlanta, and weird because I knew absolutely nobody in Atlanta. Everybody was a friend of my parents. And so I came here, with nobody. So as I got here, the first thing I heard, a lot of these new friends in college, they kept talking about this freshman 15. And I'm like, what is that? They said, oh yeah, every year, your first year in college, you put on 15 pounds. So that was programmed in my mind, that almost like a guarantee that you're gonna gain 15 pounds. Well, I got on campus, I grew up drinking Pepsi, and I said, where are the Pepsi machines? And they said, shh, no, you can't say that because Coca-Cola funds this university, so you'll never find a Pepsi machine on campus. So I thought, okay. Now, so to study and stay awake, I needed something to keep me awake to study. Coffee was never and has never been the thing to wake me up in the morning. I've been drinking coffee from I was a teenager, and coffee was just something, it is still something I enjoy. So I am not one of those people that have to have a sip to talk to anybody and to function. And so I started eating, to stay awake, a can of Coca-Cola, a regular can of Coca-Cola, and a Snickers bar. And that sugar kept me up long enough to study. Well, at the end of my first semester, I put on the 15 pounds that they say you're supposed to gain in a year. And I didn't think anything of it. Came home for Christmas, and everybody said, oh my God, you went to foreign and let yourself go. What happened? And I thought, and I started to get those things, and I realized that I was putting on weight. And so, I kind of maintained that in college, graduated, went in as an accounting major, changed my major 3 times in 4 years. And just before my senior year, I decided I was going to do sociology. So I changed to sociology, which meant my senior year was all reading. And I didn't mind reading, but somehow I overdid it in my senior year. And the day of graduation, I read the diploma to make sure they spelled my name right, because as you can tell, Joy is the middle name, M is another word. And so I just wanted to make sure they spelled that correctly. They spelled it correctly and did not read a book for 6 months. I just, because I overkilled the reading. And so I had not read in 6 months. Graduated from college, got a job, and honestly, at that time, I just needed something to start paying back student loans. And so I started administrative level, working for the United Methodist Church. And that job ended up being 15 years long. I started as entry-level administrative, then the reward for good work is more work. So I continued to get more responsibility, more work, and I had a boss that believed in me. And that's what I loved about that. It was somebody who saw something in me and believed in me and invested in me to progress. So about 8 years in the meantime, I didn't know what he was up to, but I was thinking, there's more to this. I can't take this anymore. I need something better. You know, I can't. And he said, hang in there. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I said, Master, that light taking, he was an American, and I said it to him in Jamaica. I said, Master, that light taking too long to reach. I don't have the patience. He said, just hang in there. God will provide. God will provide. 7 years into that job, he flew to Atlanta, and he said, well, this has been approved by my boss. And at the end of that conversation, they had promoted me into my supervisor's position, which now meant I was executive staff, and which opened up the doors for me to travel and to do more leadership kind of responsibilities. And so that job allowed me to travel to Eastern Europe, to West Africa, you know, because we were working on, we were the fundraising leg of the mission agency that trained missionaries, provided funding for salaries for missionaries serving in the US and around the world. And my promotion meant that the southeastern part of the United States were the conferences that I worked with directly. And so I helped to interpret the mission of the church to those 15 annual conferences in the 13 states of the US. So we got to travel to these mission projects and visit missionaries that were living outside of in Eastern Europe and West Africa, and enjoyed the opportunity. I hope one day I get back, you know, to those areas, and I was enjoying the job so much, and I thought, wow, you're working for the church. God will always be around. There'll always be church buildings. There'll always be church people. So this job is kind of secure, right? In your mind, you're thinking it's a pretty secure job because God is always going to be around. But it was also an opportunity for me to connect with my dad on a different level, because he was clergy and I was a layperson working in the church here. So we used to talk a lot and compare notes. And there were a lot of aha moments for me, things that Daddy used to say when I was growing up that I never quite got and understood. And when I started working for the church, I got it. When it came to your taking time for yourself and how much is expected of you in a certain position of leadership. So it was a good bonding time for me and my dad especially. One shot about 3 weeks before Christmas, 15 years into that job, I was out of town, actually in North Carolina, working with the conference leadership in North Carolina. And I got a call from my administrative assistant that said, the general secretary, the head, the big boss man, wants you to call his office. And I thought, I've been with this agency for 15 years and the general secretary has never called me directly. I'm like, something sound kind of weird. So I called and just happened that he was not available at the moment. And so I got back to Atlanta. The next day, they called this big conference call together with all of us that worked in the field, which were about 10, 12 of us plus the group in New York. And they had all of us, and do you know, 2 weeks before Christmas, about a week before I was getting on a plane to come to Jamaica for holiday, they laid all of us off. They just, sorry, they laid all 13 people off. And, at the end of it, I said, oh man, I said, I can't go home right before Christmas and tell my father that his daughter's not going to have any job. That's just kind of going to kill the whole Christmas holiday. So I kept it a secret from my dad. I told my sister and I mentioned it to a couple other cousins. I came home, had the best time in Jamaica, did the things that you always hear those Jamaicans in foreign always say, every time you go home, you're supposed to put on 5 pounds. Well, that Christmas, I think I put on more than 5. So over time, weight started to creep on and it didn't really hit me. While I was working on that job, I drove to Mississippi for an event, drove back. So 6 hours to and 6 hours back. Got in my car the next morning to go to a kind of educational study thing that the company had paid for me to go to. I drove to the train station, and when I started walking to the train station, I said, something don't feel right. I feel weird. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to drive downtown, pay the $14 parking, expensive downtown Atlanta, and they'll just reimburse me for the 14. About 5 minutes from my house, I started to feel lightheaded driving. And I said, no, this is not going to happen. So I turned around, went home, and all of the tests and everything, I ended up in hospital for a week. And they ran all the tests and came back and told me that I had an irregular heartbeat. And they don't know what caused the dizziness driving, but I have a regular heartbeat. I'm going to be on this medication for the rest of my life. I said, no, we can talk about that later, because I don't know about it. At that time, I was in my 30s. I'm like, the rest of my life is a long time. That's a long time to be on medication. Table that till later. And I'm still on the medication to this day, by the way. But after that happened, anytime that feeling came back, I went back to this. To let the feeling go away, I had to eat something. So I noticed I had snacks in my handbag, snacks in my briefcase, snacks in the computer bag, snacks in my car, snacks in my desk at work. There was a kitchen in my office anyway with a refrigerator. There were snacks in there. And so whenever that feeling came, the brain said, to avoid that feeling, just keep eating. Well, that Christmas I went home. If you think the boy you let yourself go was bad before, that Christmas, everybody said, oh my God, what happened? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm still wearing the same clothes. Well, yeah, but they were tighter. My mother took a picture of my sister and I to send to somebody in Nassau. And when she printed, this was before digital, when she printed the picture and she sent me a copy, I said, who is that standing up beside Gay? And she said, oh, you mean that's you? And she said, the camera takes what it sees. And I went, I'm like, Lord, I really have. So at that point, I said, no, Joy, you have to really seriously do something to lose the weight. If now you're on medication for an irregular heartbeat, don't mess with your heart. It's time to take it serious. And so I tightened up my reins on how I eat, what I snack on, how I cook food. you know, my mom and I bonded a lot in that time because we were trying to figure out how to make the non-healthiest Jamaican foods the healthier way and still enjoy it. And so we were trying all kind of things. And she was a baker, I'm a baker. So when I bake, I have to taste it. And so it was a, you know, a whole lot of thing. So I left the job I lost. I started working with another job that was a book up because I got that job because I served on the board of directors for the agency. And so I became the executive director of a nonprofit. It sounds fluffy on paper, it sounds nice, but this particular nonprofit was stressful. In the 3 years I was there, I saw my doctor more in 3 years than I'd ever seen. She even said it. She said, "What's going on? I'm seeing you more often." She said, "You know, what has changed?" I went, "Same apartment, same marital status, no children. The only thing that's changed is my job." She said, "Well, your job is making you sick." And I went in and I told them that. So that lasted 3 years. And since that time, trying to lose weight, that was around the time I shifted to going into entrepreneurship more than working for someone else. And because I wanted something different. And so that was a decision I made for myself. But I tried to lose the weight. I tried all kind of programs. I what's the one they sell in the store? There's one they sell over the, I forget the name of it, but the ones you can get in the store, they're the ones that you can get through companies that are multi-level marketing companies. Yeah, Slim Fast, thank you, that's it. I tried that, it worked for a while, then I plateaued, nothing happened. I tried something else, that didn't work, plateaued, something else. I bought some products from a company that has the same, that's in the same industry as ours. And I gave that company 6 months, and I took those products faithfully for 6 months and went into the cardiologist for my annual checkup. And I was so excited. I went, "So how much have I lost since the last appointment?" And he looked at me and he said, "None." And I went, "How you mean none? But I feel different." He said, "This is the same thing you weighed in as the last time." And I said, "No, this is not working." So as I walked in the door, I dropped my bag, I picked up the phone, I called the company, and I said, "I'm canceling my auto ship." And I said, "Products obviously are not working." Yeah, the products are obviously, they don't work for me. And so I was at my wit's end. I couldn't think of what I was going to do or take to lose this weight, because I, cut back on a lot of stuff. I stopped putting condensed milk in coffee. That was almost something my father never made sense to him. Like, how are you going to drink coffee and enjoy it without condensed milk? And so going through life, a friend of mine in Jamaica, this is interesting, in Jamaica calls me about another network marketing company. And we were a part of it. He came up, we went to their corporate office and everything. Now, one day I noticed I didn't see him pushing it as much. And I thought, he's getting very quiet. And so I called him and to find out if he was okay. He said, I'm doing something. I'll call you right back. And when he called me back, he told me about TLC and about the products, and his excitement about the products is what caught me, because I don't think he was even long enough to really try it. And he went ahead and placed my first order for me and had it shipped to me. And the first product I ever had with TLC is something they don't carry anymore. And the day they bring it back, I'm going to sell them out of it. It was the first product I ever had. This was when they had hot chocolate. And the hot chocolate had Ganoderma in it. And that followed along my line of chocolate, living in cold weather, drinking it hot. And I noticed within a couple of days that how my body felt was different. I even noticed like a looseness in my pants in the waist. And I called him, I said, I don't know what is in that stuff, but I need the tea. Where do I go to order? And so the green pack of tea, not the old package, I started with that, and it was constant, but not really, honestly, not really tracking my weight. I could tell, I just knew my body felt different and things were starting to be different for me. And and I don't even remember, that was somewhere around 2014, 2015. I've been on these products from around that time. And then he decided to make the decision to move on. And after hearing Tristan or somebody, when they were giving their story about what happened around that time, I could see that it was probably around that time, and then things, went the way they did. But I still had to find a way to get these products. I said, if he wants to move on or whatever happens, I just have to find somebody. And got, products here and there, still found a way to get access to the products, but wasn't taking 3 consistently at the same time. I just, at the time, said, if I can just get one of them in my body, it will do something. In the process, I wasn't really gaining, so I didn't, think, I didn't stress about it too much. As long as one of the products was in my body, something good was coming in. In 2016, yes, 2016, I decided to move to Florida. And I went down there and still had to find a way to get the products. And I met a young lady at a Jeffrey Combs event. He's one of these industry network marketing industry kind of business coaches. And I went to his live event in Atlanta, met him, and while I was there, I met a young lady. And we just, we connected, and she said, I used to be married to a Jamaican and I love Jamaica, and, if I could, I would move back. So I think that's part of the reason we connected. Because she was talking to me about ackee and saltfish and all this kind of stuff. And I saw her on Facebook promoting TLC. And I called her and I said, are you in? And she said, yes. I said, well, I need to get back in and I need a sponsor because, I need to get back in. And so I signed up again under her, and that's how I got back in. My first event that I went to, Keely was at the event. I think I started following everybody my sponsor was following so I could get plugged into people. And the first event I went to must have been, I think, like a Super Saturday in Tampa. And I took the mega bus from Miami to Tampa to go to the event, and met Keely in person. And that was the event that Dean came up and won the challenge, the weight loss challenge. And I met Dean at that event, and I remembered him from social media. And that event, when they brought his mother and stick, when I tell you this company is amazing, I might start crying, But that was my first event. And then TLC had and their monthly event in Miami. And I said, no, the company can't be coming half an hour from where I lived in Miami, and I'm not at that event. And that was the event that I met Greg Scott. I saw him, I walked up to him, and I said, hello, Mr. Scott, my name is Joy. And I said, my sponsorship is, I'm in Team Excitement with Kerry Mr. Excitement George, because that's the group I'm in. And he said, oh, yeah. And so we, met, took pictures. Nice to meet you. I met Dexter, had conversation with them. Unfortunately, Lanika and Tanya were at another event, so they weren't in Miami. And, and I thought, yeah, they meet a lot of people, so next time I see them, I'll have to reintroduce myself to them. So I'm following Keely, and I'm seeing Keely and Dean talking about this Caribbean takeover and Jamaica. And around the time she started promoting your event in February, I was thinking it's time I make a trip to Jamaica. And this time when I go, I'm going for a long period of time. This 2 weeks, 5 days thing is not enough time to spend in Jamaica. And since I haven't been, in a number of years, I'm going to go and, and spend quality time. So I inboxed Keely and I said, I see you're having an event in Jamaica. I'm planning to be there. Do you have the dates? And the minute she came out with the dates, that's when I said, okay, I'm staying through February and coming back March 1st. When I left Montego Bay that day and we got back to Kingston, I did not get home till midnight. And I was up first thing in the morning to catch a flight back here. And I wanted to extend my stay. And a week after I got back, COVID just kind of blew up. So I started the 30-33 challenge. This is where I really started to see the weight loss. While I was in Florida, taking the products, and even when my sister and I went to England in 2016 for 3 weeks, I had the chaga with me. And I didn't have the tea or anything. I thought, I'm traveling, let me just put the pouch of chaga, in my bag and go. And we went to England and said, you know what, we're on vacation. We're going to watch what we eat, but we're not going to watch so tightly because we're in England. And England, they have their tea time and their desserts and all this kind of stuff, and they walk a lot. And I spent 3 weeks there taking a chaga day and came back and did not gain a pound. And I went, so I'm like, okay, I can do that. Came back in August of 2017, I started the 30-33 challenge. I did my tea. I did the NRG. I love this thing. And good old liquid gold. And for 30 days, these 3 products and 30 minutes of walking a day, and I dropped 40 pounds. By the time I came back and people saw me again, they said, what are you doing? They said, you're losing weight. You actually look good. And these were the same people who used to say to me, oh, you're tall. You can carry it. You don't need to lose weight. And I'm like, yeah, I'm 5'10", but tall and fat does not mean healthy. And I just, I thought I was big in high school. Then I thought I was big in college. Then at some point, I got so big, I wish I could do anything to get back to what I was in high school. And now, after 140 pounds, I was back down to what I probably was in high school, which was then still, in my opinion, too big. But I tell you what, my journey not done yet, because came back, and even though I'm on the products, something happened. I'm not going to blame it on COVID. COVID happened. It was that. I'm going to answer that Alan question in a minute. The COVID, and then somewhere about 3 months ago, something didn't feel right. When you really know your body. And I checked my blood pressure, and for some reason it went up. And I went, can't be what I'm eating, and I'm already taking great products, so don't know what caused it, but it said to me, even though you're living a healthy lifestyle and you're taking good products, you still need to take control and know what is happening, and stuff happens. And it happened, and it's back under control again, but it went up again. I'm probably, yeah, I am now 52, and I made a decision yesterday. In 3 months and 2 days before my next birthday, I'm going to be down another 30 pounds, and then I will be at the weight that's on my driver's license. The weight that has been on my driver's license for years. I'll finally be at that weight. And and everything will be under control again. So I'm still on my journey. I haven't gotten there yet, but from where I've been to where I am now, um, I've come a long way. So that's pretty much my story. I love this company. I love the core values. When I was working for the United Methodist Church, there were a lot of things about the job I liked. And now when I look at TLC and the core values, everything, I know I'm aligned with the right place, with the right place because I like to have fun. And, my dad had that, I have my dad's sense of humor, which I think could be a Magnus sense of humor. And then somebody asked about Alan. If those of you who knew Alan Magnus growing up on the radio, he had that some kind of sense of humor, which, I think is a Magnus thing because all of us have that, to some level. I think Alan just had it to another level. And Alan is distant cousin, so distant that we've never met. But his grandfather and my grandfather were brothers. So but it's distant because my dad didn't even grow up really knowing him. So yeah, we have that trait. And so that's me. That picture on the left was taken at what used to be Jamaica Grand in Ocho Rios. And that was a few years after that hospital stay when I gained all that weight. So yeah. And then that picture in the TLC shirt was taken in 2018 in Florida. And so, yeah, I hope that's my story and I'm going to stick to it. Are there any questions or anything?
Awesome.
I enjoy being here. Thank you for the opportunity.
You are most welcome, Joy. Thank you for sharing. Because a lot of us have seen you, we have heard of you, but I didn't even know that you lost weight until you shared that with me. I didn't even know. I just know that this kid was always there. You watch some movies, and there's this person is always there. Everybody wants to know who is this person? Why are they there? Everybody seems to know them. They seems to know everybody. Now we know you have been around and you will be around for a long time. I am so glad that you shed that weight and you are going to shed more. Guys, like I always say, guys, I come with the receipts, with the stamps. I showed you that Joy was fat. I met her and she's not fat anymore, even though she said she wanted to lose some weight. But guys, she was fat, as you can see the photo there. And I'm really sorry to hear about your art, but I mean, after 30 years, I know you have made your peace with it and you are controlling it. And I hope that TLC or some other method, you'll find a way to get that permanently fixed so you can be back to your 29-year-old self again.
And
Before you knew about it, all right?
yeah, and
But guys,
there are a lot of things when I think back to, you know, I know my parents would be proud. My parents died before I started the weight loss journey. And so to see me get to this point, they did not see. If TLC was in my life when they were sick, then I could have had them on those products. But I know all things happen for a reason, and God knows best. And so from what they went
yes,
through health wise, because they worked their whole life, and it was right after they retired that they got sick. And so they didn't even get to live the retirement that that we thought or I thought they would live. So I know that I have the opportunity to make it different for me and for other members of the family. So, and I'm just proud of the Jamaica team. Jamaica's been in the top 10 countries for the last what? 3 months? And every day I'm there cheering on like I'm part of the reason why it's in the top 10. But I'm gonna cheer you guys on. I'm just so proud and happy. And I know it's a great opportunity for the people in Jamaica and you know, to earn another source of income and to get it in US currency. That's even sweet.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
I will tell you, when I was there for the 5 weeks earlier this year, I didn't gain a pound either. And I made sure I came down with all my
TLC
products.
works in all countries.
When the customs said, what do you have? I said, personal items.
You
And they're
froze.
like, and I said, yeah, I had 2 bottles of this because I wasn't gonna run out. It was personal. And I stayed on the products and I'm glad I was there to be at a meeting because that meeting in February was probably the first TLC meeting I'd been to in a while. So it helped me also. And when I saw Greg, like I said, I thought I was going to
You froze
reintroduce myself to
again.
him, and especially being in a totally different country. And he looked at me and he said, "What are you doing here?" And I went, "You remembered me?" And I said, "Well, when you come to my home country, I have to be here to see you." And that's when he found out I was from
Ah,
Jamaica. And so it was good.
yes,
And
yes, yes.
yeah, it was an awesome event. And to see how you guys have grown since that event, I'm ready to come back and be a part of the excitement you guys give. So,
Yes,
but thank you
definitely,
again.
definitely, definitely. The
Yes.
next one is good. The next one is going to be way, way bigger, and way more excitement.
Yes, and when that
All right, guys.
I will come down for that if I'm not already there.
All right, guys. So if you have any question, go ahead, unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself now and ask away. All right. So if you are shy to speak out, you can type the question in the chat. All right. I guess everybody was well fed. So there seem to be no question. Hopefully, guys, by next week, my computer will be back up and running. I'll be able to stream on Facebook like I've been doing also. All right, guys, if you need the recording of the story, you can hit me up. I'll send you the link. Thank you, Joy, for sharing your story with us. I know you are not necessarily a person like me that is talkative and like to just share, but I know you did it because you know that it can help someone. And I am proud of you. I'm happy for you. All right. I am shocked that you were not born in Jamaica. That's definitely a shocker for me. I
That
didn't
is
know you
good.
lost that much pound.
That's between me and the 22 of you on here. If anybody else asks, tell you no.
What, what about the others who popped in and popped out? They're not here anymore.
They're not. No, I'm not ashamed of it because it's a part of my dad's story, and he was in ministry, and
Yes.
it was the year. Now this is going to age me. That it was the year that Martin Luther King was assassinated, and so when he was assassinated, Daddy used to tell me stories of what Harlem was like after they assassinated King. And he said, just thank God at the time you and your mother were in Jamaica with Mama during that time. And so the whole experience for him in Harlem during that time, so yeah, I was born the year that King was assassinated. So and when I graduated from high
Wow.
school, some of you were just born right now. But you all are like family, so I lived here for two
Awesome stuff.
months and
All
then I
right,
was
so
back in
guys,
Jamaica.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you're a certified Jamaican. So guys, I just want you all to say a big thank you to Joy. She didn't have to do this, she did it. And I'm sure there's something in it that can inspire you to go out and be a better life changer. All right, guys, if you're on here and you're not a life changer, I know. Look at this. Joy was overweight, she was unhealthy, she was unhappy, she is struggling. She was struggling with her heart condition along with her guys, and TLC helped her. These products are made by God, packaged and distributed by TLC. No artificial, no GMOs, nothing that will harm you. All right, guys. So I just want to say thank you again, Joy. And I, as you know, I always drop the bomb of who's coming next week. Who can guess who's coming next week? You got 5 seconds. One, two,
Thank you.
three, 4, 5. So you did not get it. All right, so let me just tell you who's coming next week, guys. She is famous. Youth, stop, drop the thing. Not yet, Tristan. Not yet. Calm down, Tristan. Anyhow, for next, eh? So next week, guys, you'll be seeing someone that is famous. You have been using her, I shouldn't even have said the sex, but her, you have been using her transformation photo for months, right? I remember when I just started this business, guys, people used to say to me, are these people real? Do you know them? Is this, did they do surgery? Can I call them, guys? But next week, you'll be hearing from another person who had an awesome transformation. I know you're not seeing me, but you should be seeing my screen. This is Regional Director Jem Tardier. Guys, she is from Trinidad and Tobago, and she has a story to tell. Guys, I won't even go into it. I'm going to stop there. But I'm going to let you know that she will be on next week, Tuesday, November the 3rd, in Live and Living Colors. So reach out to everybody who had told you before that this is not real and that she is a Photoshop, and that if you know her and if you can call her, because I know you must have gotten those accusations and those comments also. So reach out to everybody, invite them for next week, guys. And guys, I mean, this is just awesome. Awesome. So guys, thank you again for coming out. Thank you again, Joy, for telling us your story. It is absolutely inspiring and powerful to know that, guys, when Joy said that she was working for the church, thought that, hey, it must be the most secure place on earth to have a job. And then they all got laid off. This is serious, guys. If the church can lay off, imagine what your boss will do to you tomorrow if he sees his revenue going down. So guys, secure yourself. Get yourself a second stream of income and let it become your main stream of income. I have something to tell you. I won't say it yet, but that night is coming, guys. So good night again. Have yourself a great night. See you again next week, Tuesday, where we'll be hearing another awesome story. One that you
Thank
thought
you,
you know,
Joy.
but you didn't
Thank
know.
you. Good night,
Have
guys.
yourself a great night, guys.